warm welcome to our podcast, Meet the Expert in Sport Management. This is your podcast about topics in sport management and economics and in sport governance and politics. We will always have a look at ethical issues. This podcast is a cooperation between the Johannes Gutenberg University in Mainz and the German Olympic Academy. Our topic today is Modern Pentathlon, Sport Politics and Values. And our guest is Dr. Klaus Schormann. Klaus Schormann is president of the International Pentathlon Union. He was president for the German Pentathlon Union from 1984 until 2014. He is currently an IOC Commission member for the Commission of Culture. He was a passionate teacher and a politician. He was appointed to be an advisor for international affairs for the government of Hesse until 2023. Klaus is very active in sports. For more than 60 years he was in different volunteer positions. As a World Federation president, he's traveling a lot all over the world and gets certainly many honors and orders, and that would be too much to mention them all here, but there are dozens of them. Welcome to our podcast, Klaus Schormann. Klaus Schormann, thank you very much for coming to our podcast tonight. I'm very happy to have you here as a World Federation president. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Then let's start. So since 1993, you are leading the World Pentathlon Union. Has it become politically easier or harder to lead the World Union in the past 20 years?
I can say from year to year, it is more difficult to have the balance linked to business, politics, and sport. But there's also another important part for my leadership these are based on my experience. As more experience I have, as less difficult is this for me.
Yeah, I was asking because the past years, the new challenges, let's say regarding match fixing and so on, you started already several years ago to have measures against match fixing, but there are also other things like ethical codes, anti-corruption and so on. So is it much more work nowadays to work with all these codes and guidelines and to educate everyone to follow them, or was this the same 20 years ago?
You know, it is now, let's say from the administration side, much more to operate and to teach and to send these messages to the national federations. While we have to follow the Olympic Charter, we have to follow all the advices of IOC, and there is, as you know, a measuring, a monitoring of good governance, and good governance is something very important for us. So therefore, we have established our ethical rules, we have our WADA code, we have our different, let's say, guidance, what we have to work out, always based what IOC is asking for. And we are fulfilling this, but it is also the consequence that you have to teach the national federations, and that you have much more administration. When we are speaking, do something for the future, less administration. No, administration is growing, and this is also very costly. You have the much more cost, but we have to use this challenge. Why we follow as well as IOC decided this Agenda 2020 and now maybe 20+5. So there are something more coming for all the international federations and the whole international sport.
Let's go to the Olympics then, and IOC, as you just said it. Modern pentathlon or pentathlon was already a sport in the Asian Games. It became then also in the modern games a sport, and very long in the Olympic program. Does it has a special duty regarding the Olympic legacy, let's say, and which values characterize your sports?
You know, the point is first that Pierre de Coubertin, the founder of the modern Olympic Games, created modern pentathlon based on the experience he could study and analyze from ancient time, when pentathlon was 708 first time as a part of the Olympic program in ancient Olympic Games. And then he studied what can be a multi-sport for the Olympics, for the Olympic Games. And so therefore he created with long discussions starting already in the 19th century. But then in 1909 and then 1911, finally, he could achieve a positive answer from his colleagues. And so we could start 2012 in the Olympic Games in Stockholm, first time as a part of the Olympic program. With the 5 disciplines, we know the base was more the officer sport, but also linked to the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century. He wanted to combine physical elements like the running and swimming. So therefore, we had this combination at the beginning with riding, fencing, shooting, swimming, and running. And so this is a kind of heritage, the only sport created for the Olympic program. And so therefore, we try through our Innovation Commission to change the sport. Every, let's say, 4 years, we have big changes, what we are delivering then to the Olympic program through a discussion with the Olympic Committee, through the sport department, and with our national federations. So the innovation in our sport was really a lot. And when you look backwards, when I was an athlete, we have been shooting with fire pistols. But when I became the president, I had the last world champion with fire pistols in Darmstadt, the world champion in 93. In 94 already, we shot with air pistols in the combination with fencing and shooting in one facility. And then we, some years later, we combined as well more our events so that we could have nowadays Pentathlon arena. And in this arena, we have all the 5 disciplines of our sport. So therefore, we have made a lot of steps to modernize our sport, to go with the media, with the television, with, let's say, the new technology. And when we look to the new technology, when we look backwards to 2010, the Youth Olympic Games, when we have established first time laser shooting, in the Olympic Youth Games, I think that was a big step while we have been focusing on environment.
This is an interesting point, Klaus, as environmental issues are more and more important, as we know from Fridays for Future movements and in general our climate change. So what is modern pentathlon contributing to a better environment?
This is a very important point, the environmental issue. And we have been the first international federation, the Olympic movement, to taking care with their own commission of environment. So, and then later IOC also started with this much more deeper under the leadership of the first chair from the IOC Environmental Commission, and Paul Schmidt, that was the first chairman. And so I know quite well what we could deliver with our ideas to the sport movement. And I gave a speech, Sport Environment, on the Centennial Congress in the Sorbonne in 1994. So that is also underlining how early under my leadership we started to reduce costs, reduce, let's say, damaging the environment. So really to take care about environment and to follow the new technologies as much as possible.
That is a very good point you brought up. I just wanted to ask you, when you say I brought in the modern way of shooting and Coubertin brought in the sport as being modern in 1908 already, how can modern pentathlon keep being interesting in the future in the Olympic program, as we have ever more new sports and new formats? So what is pentathlon doing regarding innovation to be modern in the way of technology or also digitalization? Are there any ideas coming up?
You know, we are starting now in Tokyo, where we are first time at the Olympic Games with 5 disciplines in the stadium, but we call it normally the Pentathlon Arena. But for 24 Paris Olympic Games, we have now established, and we have some more test events and we have some modifications, a new system of the presentation of our sport. So in the past, in Tokyo, we will have still 5 hours, but in Paris 24, we will have 90 minutes. So we are like a soccer game. So we have elimination, or let's say we say semifinals, with the 36 athletes from 18, and then to come to a final with 12 athletes. So this is a big step forward, what we discussed with OBS, with Olympic Broadcasting Services, and with the sport part of IOC and our XCD board and all the commissions, committees supporting this as well. The athletes have been deeply involved in this discussion. So that is another kind that we present our sport like you have a soccer game. And so that is a big step forward. And while we have a so-called a multi-sport presentation, I think when we are looking backwards to the questionnaires we did in all the games before, then we could learn how interesting the spectators, the Olympic spectators, are looking to something where they see some more disciplines in one spot with one ticket. And so the Pentathlon is able to present the different, the physical parts, the technology, the environment when we take the horse as a special environment. So I think that's what we are giving. The value of our sport is so high also on the educational side. What means the physical education, the mental education, the discipline in fencing. When you take all these elements from the 5 different disciplines, this is quite a lot. And I have not a single other sport, not a single multi-sport who can deliver so much what we can deliver through the 5 disciplines of modern pentathlon.
And technology is moving in already, as you said, the laser shooting, or you're shooting with lasers, which then enables the spectators to be in the stadium, because you cannot shoot anymore a person, as there's only light coming out. And you have a laser run. Is there also a potential to move into virtual sports then, that people can later do modern pentathlon, fighting against others, but doing it alone, so to say, shooting with laser pistols, and running is potentially working? Or maybe you can, like Darth Vader, have a laser fencing.
Yeah, you know, the point is that we already have made during this pandemic, we had these difficulties. What can we do, what we can offer to our athletes worldwide? So we had already internet competitions with laser at home, in their garden, wherever they have space. So we are on the way to follow also all this kind of e-sport philosophy. These are quite different movements, but we are monitoring what will be the best with our 5 disciplines, what we can use, what we can handle. So therefore also our Innovation Commission is quite deeply involved in all these matters. It's too early to say this is the way, but we are in the process, and we are following as well the discussions inside the Olympic sport department, what they have in mind, in which direction we have to go. And so therefore we can say our multi-sport with the technology, you mentioned fencing and the shooting, these are these technical elements where we can do quite a lot. And also nowadays already we will have the fencing wireless, so that means we have no electrics, what you can see, the strips, it's not any longer existing. So we have also there special technology, what is accepted as well by the International Fencing Federation. We still work together with our international colleagues to learn from each other, and also to give examples what we can do, where we can have another step forward. And but we will not let's say take away our challenge through the horses. We need this let's say, when we speak about an equipment, the horse is a live equipment, and to handle this means a lot of sensibility, the big of sensibility and respect to something like this. So therefore this is my underlining how difficult and how different the disciplines are. So you do something for your body, that is the running and the swimming, the physical part, and then you have this combination with from the fencing and as well the shooting. These are technical elements, and then you have the very sensitive element, the riding. So therefore we try to find ways also in the presentation in the electronic way so that you can have a special games or what to create something for children. And so we are absolutely observing what is going on high technology, and not to react. No, we try to act with them together to find good solutions for the future.
Yes, I just thought, as being a rather smaller World Federation in comparison to other federations, that you're often first mover. As you said, fencing, you show the big fencing federation how to do fencing with this new equipment. Shooting, you started with laser shooting, and they are not starting with laser shooting yet. So isn't it an advantage to be a little smaller but very flexible and trying new things and having also the pressure to do new things to keep a pace with all the other federations? Or is it, yeah, it's certainly also you and your teams that are thinking innovative and say, okay, we have to change, otherwise the world will change us?
Yeah, no, the point is, yeah, if you don't change, you will be changed. We know the statement of IOC President Dr. Thomas Bach. As long I'm president, I was keen enough always to stress my colleagues with new ideas, testing the ideas, and then later discussing the ideas with more people around us, and then also asking people from outside to observe, to make their study service, and then to give us their opinions from outside. So not only to live inside the cake, no, also to take ideas from outside and to use this knowledge and to integrate all this knowledge. And that's what they say, a great conglomerate, what we are creating, and therefore we are moving on. And always in the base, in the meaning of the philosophy, say we have to take care about the heritage of Coubertin. So Coubertin created something not only for the present time when he was living, it was a base also for future, and therefore we still have Olympic Games. And we are in this movement, in an ongoing process, and we will never stop. And I'm sure that the person who will be my successor in some years will follow with all my colleagues in the same philosophy. So that's the point that we are saying. We are a sport created for the Olympic movement. We are moving with the Olympic movement. So that is the biggest challenge for myself, to be a sport, a permanent sport, an untouchable sport in the Olympic movement. And therefore, to be this, we have to go with the time, with the new technology, and not to say, okay, we are an antique sport. No, we're coming from ancient time, and we're still in present time active with new innovation.
Good. We have to, I think we should go back once more into sport politics and also touching human rights, as we all heard in the media that you postponed the World Championships in Belarus. And as I know you don't want to punish the athletes, taking them away their opportunity to have home games, in particular as Belarus is quite good in pentathlon. So yeah, what was your decision to do that, and yeah, how did you manage?
So, after the election, we immediately, based that I'm also a politician, so I know to observe what can happen. And when the discussion started through the media in Europe, I have to underline, the discussion is mainly in Europe, not in Asia, not in South America, not in Africa. This issue is a discussion mainly in Europe. But it is a global issue, that is clear. But then we said, our national federation has organized so many competitions, Junior World Championship, USA World Championship, World Cup Final, has the best athletes on top in the world. The wife of our president is a world champion. She was winning an Olympic medal in Beijing. So, and there are many other athletes from Belarus on the highest level, always winning in all age categories. And they have been elected in a democratic way. Nobody is a politician. So they are absolutely a fair, based on the Olympic Charter, national federation registered by us. How we can punish a federation, it would be very unfair. And we are always teach we should be fair to each other. And that's what we are doing, to be fair to each other. So the process that we stated later, not to cancel, to postpone, was discussed with our colleagues. It was not just behind them. No, since September last year. I was already in discussion with them. So therefore, it was not a big surprise. So we prepared this statement. It was not needed that German politicians stressed me, that media stressed me, but there was never stress from IOC. Never. I have to underline this. Never. It was only from politicians, from people who always looking and putting the finger on something. But our colleagues in Belarus are very happy. They can live with this. If the things are better to judge on the different circumstances, what the difficult circumstances they have now, then they will have the World Championship to organize. So they are still there. They are respected as they are. So therefore, this I think was a very smart step we did, and we followed what is in the Olympic Charter: be fair and don't punish someone, and don't boycott in that way. So this was only based on special circumstances. So we said it is the best way for both sides, and nobody is losing the face. We continue, and there will come the time, and they will organize a World Championship.
That's very interesting. But if we stay with human rights, we also can see that big events are given to China or Qatar, both also nations where we could see some human rights issues. I mean, we have them in many countries, but in particular in these countries. So why do you go in these countries?
Yeah, but you see, we gave also big competitions to United States, and there was something the last years I was not sure that everything was in the democratic way. So we had Olympic Games in China. We have world-class athletes in China. They are developing our sport in the whole China, and so they are a great partner. And so again, like Belarus, we can take Russia, we can take so many countries around the world. Where we go, we are World Cups in Egypt. You know, there's discussions about politics as well in this country. There's nearby, maybe in 70% of the countries in the world, discussions. But we are going to places where the federations are strong, able to develop our sport to international big competitions. And Qatar, they also established some years ago a special structure, a special booklet with the guidelines of education projects for sport. And so that was a time some years ago when the Emir was still the NOC president, Mr. Altani, IOC member. And so we awarded this country with the champion of champions. And so this was a special competition, and they love horses. So this is another part. We also we are going to places where we are close with the horse society. Also in Qatar, horse society and Pentathlon is in one federation. So we are going to the places where we have experience with the national federations, where the federations are strong, where the federations are structured based on our statute. And you can only be a member federation when you are following exactly our legal advices, and if not, then you're not a member. So therefore, these are approved through the National Olympic Committees, and while the NOCs are our direct partners, and they are also accepted by the IOC. So as long IOC is accepting an NOC, then we also accepting the federation, what is accepted by this NOC, what is also accepted by IOC. So that is a clear line. So we are not going out of this process.
So let's come to an end, as our time is already over. I like to ask you, as I do usually in my podcast, 5 more personal questions, and I like you to answer it as quick as you can. So
yes, please.
Okay, then we start. What was the funniest moment you had with Prince Albert?
The funniest moment was when we have been together on the 2nd of October. I remember quite well. 2nd of October, a dinner, and we started, and he said, Klaus, we speak only German language. And later, after a good glass of wine, we started to sing German songs while he was asked from Bobsport and was many times in Germany. So we had a very relaxing evening in a wonderful Italian restaurant in Monaco, and we singing together songs, playing guitar. So that was a very, let's say, a very special moment for me. And all the guests around us, not looking to us, they have known him. And so that was also a feeling to be with the Crown Prince together, your honorary president, and you have a funny moment. And that was for me, what I would say, I have some more nice moments, but this was a very special moment.
Okay, second question. To which country was your trip most difficult? So what was the most difficult journey you had in terms of...
that is also a good point. I'm flying with a German airline, a partner from us. I say this is Lufthansa, and I never, in any flights in my life, since 72, I'm flying around the world. I had a problem to come to a country, but there was one special moment on the 27th of December, 1995, New York, Atlanta. We had to fly to meet on the 28th the CEO of the Atlanta Centennial Games. And we went to the airport in New York. I had a meeting in New York before with my National Federation president who was living in New York, and a snowstorm started. And we sitting in the plane, 6-7 hours in the plane, no food, no drink, nothing. But they said, you are sitting already in the plane. We asked you, can we go out? No. And then I had, me a little bit. I have always chocolate. I have always something to drink with me. So I could, with my treasurer, we could use a little bit of my chocolate and my drink. I say this is a small medicine. And then after 7 hours, we started. And this was the last flight, the last plane leaving for 1 week from New York. And we landed at 6 o'clock in the morning in Atlanta. They picked me up. We gave a message to the hotel, brushing the teeth in the car, and I could meet at 10 o'clock the chairman of the Olympic Games for Atlanta 96. So this was where I was very nervous not to have this meeting. But this was the only where I had really a moment where I was not sure I could succeed everything. But in general, never a problem to any countries in the world.
Wow. Okay. So next question is, what is the culture where you think is the most delicious food, at least for you?
For me, I can tell you, I like and I love my German food. I love my German food, but based that I'm in the year traveling to 20, 30 different countries, I like very much as well the Chinese food, or I like Thai food. So for me, I have to eat so different food, so different culture of the cuisine. So therefore, but if you ask me, I'm always happy, and my wife knows when I'm coming back home, there is something special prepared, a typical German meal, what I like.
That's good. Fourth question. So you have been school teacher for many years, 25 years, and you have been World Federation president. And also some years you have been both. What was the coolest connection in these two parallel worlds? Did you have a win-win situation?
The win-win situation is always, I was always communicating the whole day. I have to teach something to deliver something. And when I was an athlete, I already was known that I was not only competing. When we have been after the competitions together, we spoke about many things based that I'm very interested in culture, in history, in politics, in business. So I was always communicating. And this, when I was traveling, I was learning a lot from different cultures, respect to other religions, respect to other politics, to respect what I could learn in different countries. This I tried to deliver and to give it also to those who are listening to me. And this I try to do still on. While this was the biggest challenge, what I learned internationally to deliver and not to sit on this. No, my passion is that other people should learn what I know so that I can share my knowledge with other people. That was my big challenge always.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last question is, which decision of the IOC would make you happy?
Yeah, that is a clear point. If the IOC would accept the wish, what we are asking for more than 15 years now, to include mixed relay in the Olympic program, this is the number one. If this would be made, then we would more than happy. And we have been very close for Paris to be included with the mixed relay. But the pandemic crossed all this, also not for my sport, also for many other sports, the wishes, and therefore the IOC had to make a clear stop, say no, we don't know what will happen in the future, so they have not opened the door for other new movements. But this is one part, and this other part I already mentioned, to be an untouchable sport in the Olympic movement, that we can continue to play the heritage of Coubertin. And I'm in the Commission for Culture and Olympic Heritage. So there is a Commission for Heritage. That means the IOC takes respect to heritage. So therefore, we are a part of an Olympic heritage based on Coubertin.
That was a good closing word. Thank you very much, Klaus, for this interesting talk and our podcast. All the best for you and for your union and for the upcoming games and events.
Thanks a lot, Holger, and let's go on in our future for the Olympic movement.